Thank you for connecting with the Pennsylvania Game Commission today. My name is Brittany Howell, and my colleague Lori and I will be managing this session. We're fortunate to be joined today by Tom Makibbin, the Geographic Information Systems Administrator for the Game Commission. He'll be talking to us about exciting new features in the Game Commission's Mapping Center. We expect the presentation to last about 20 minutes, followed by a question and answer period of about 10 minutes or so. You can ask a question by typing into the Type Question Here box on the GoToWebinar control panel at the right of your screen. For those of you dialing in to listen by phone, please note that this is not a toll-free call and you may receive long-distance charges from your service provider. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to our presenter, Tom, and you can share a little bit about your background as well as why we're doing this new update with all of these features in the Mapping Center.
Okay, thanks, Brittany. It's glad to be back with you. It's been, what, 6 months, just under 6 months since we last talked about the Mapping Center. And we had a lot of comments since then, a lot of things that people liked, they didn't like. And so we've taken those comments and we've done a lot to try to make it better. So we've been working really hard on it, and let's get into it. So if you're trying to get to the Mapping Center, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to any of our Game Commission web pages, and then you're going to just scroll to the bottom and you'll see the maps and more. You'll select that. That'll take you to a map gallery, and on the map gallery you'll see the Earth with 2018 Mapping Center. You select that. Once you select that, that's going to pop up the application. You'll see a splash screen that has a welcome letter from our executive director. It gives a little brief description of some of the new features that we've added. Once you click the OK button, that'll take you into the Mapping Center, and it looks pretty much visually like our existing one or our old one did, but let's discuss more. So today we're going to talk about what's changed. We're going to go over the top 10 new features we've added, as well as some bonus features that the new application provides. And then we're going to talk about some of the differences on a mobile or a small display screen that the Mapping Center provides. So what's changed? Our old Mapping Center, we had 23 unique layers, 31 if you counted the groups such as Gameland layers, PGC statewide layers, etc. So we took a look at those groups, and we found there were several that really didn't add a lot to it, or they were redundant. So we're not including these features in the new layer. They're included in some other way. With the new Mapping Center, we've added 18 brand new layers for a total of 42 unique layers. So in green, you'll see some of our new layers. Things like state parks, wildlife, wild pheasant recovery areas, deer harvest, deer hunter focus areas, things like that. We've added weather watches and warnings, a lot of information. We also improved our roads on game lands, so we've kind of combined our seasonal roads layer into this one, so you can get the same information you would on our seasonal road maps you can get from this one map. So comparing the old from the new, on the left is the old legend, and the layer list wasn't open by default, so the user didn't necessarily know where to look to find the layers and the information they're looking for. You had to kind of click to expand it, and you had to kind of hunt and peck through the different layers to find out, well, where is the information that you want. In the new layer list, it is open by default. It's on the right-hand side of the screen. It's easy to expand to see the symbology, and everything is right there in front of you, so you can turn on and off the layers that you want to see. So let's go into the top 10 new features that we've added. So number 10 is help videos. So at the top of the application, there's a link that will bring you to a YouTube page. If you click on it, it pops open, and we have a playlist there that goes through just 3 quick videos. I think the total, all 3 videos, is like 5 minutes. So very quick, just introduction for people that maybe forgot how to do the layer list and how to work with pop-ups. So just a quick tutorial there. The number 9, we added the state park and state forest features, and we're using the DCNR data right from their server. So this is their data, and it provides us with, for instance, the state forest. You can get the link for the roads on the open roads for deer season on state forest, and if you click on a state park, it will link to the DCNR state park web pages, so you can get information on state parks. Number 8, we've added the mobile hunting and trapping digest link right in the app. So if you're on the app and you have a question and you want to look up the digest, you just click the link and it'll pop open the mobile version, and you can get it right from the digest itself. Number 7, we've added game commission links in our pop-ups. In this version, we tried to add more of an educational feel. So for things in the chronic wasting disease, in this example, we explained it a little bit more instead of just giving you the basic facts. We told you what chronic wasting disease is, what a DMA boundary is, and then at the bottom of most of the pop-ups, there's going to be either a more information link or something. You click that, it will pop open a page that will take you to our website. In this case, the chronic wasting disease page from the Game Commission website. So you'll find that throughout the different layers. Number 6, the easy to find and control layers. Now we kind of already highlighted this one at the beginning, but all the layers are located in the layer list. They're right out front. You just check or uncheck the boxes to turn on or off the various layers that you want to see. Number 5, report a bad hunter access points. So in the past, when you've gone to where our dots show on the map, they may or may not be located at the correct location. So you might have gone out there and it was the middle of a field. You had no idea how to contact the hunter. There was no, or the owner, there was no address, anything like that. So if you find a point like that with the new app, you can now click on the point on the map, and you'll see down at the bottom, there's a link for report a bad location. Once you click that, it'll ask to allow the application to access your email. If you do, it's going to pre-format an email to the Game Commission with all the applicable information that we need to follow up. Now, if you would like, you can also, in that email, you could put some descriptions, maybe a particular problem that you found or whatever. So by forwarding that to us, we'll know where the point is, what regions it's responsible for it, and we can get that information out and get it corrected as quickly as possible. So this is where your help will really come in. Number 4, pop-ups run by default. In the last mapping center, you had to enable the pop-up to see any information. So you had to find the layer and click on it to actually turn on the layer that you wanted. Well, no longer do you need to do that. If the layer is turned on, you can click on the item on the map and it's going to pop up some information. If there's more than one pop-up that you see, then you'll see it up in the title bar of the pop-up. You may see, like in this case, we have 1 of 3, and in the smaller example, 2 of 3. So in order to scroll through the various pop-ups, you can use the arrows to scroll forward or back through the pop-ups to find the one you want. Number 3, we added habitat and waterfowl layers. So 10 of the 18 new layers that we added were either habitat or waterfowl layers. So the waterfowl layers, things like duck zones, controlled goose areas, and goose zones, those are best viewed at the statewide level. But obviously, if you know where you are using your GPS on your phone or whatever, you can zoom in and you'll be able to readily see which zone that you fall into. So that gets rid of a lot of questions that we've had. The habitat layers, on the other hand, are best, since they're on the game lands, they're best zoomed in. So once you're, say, in Game Lands 180, you can see which oak forests are there, what the latest timber harvest since 2005, deer, all these different areas makes it really easy to get to that information. Number 2, driving directions. So 2018 Mapping Center, we've provided driving directions for parking areas on game lands, our PA license sales outlets, so if you need to buy a license, shooting ranges, regional offices, check stations, both bear and elk check stations, the visitor center to include Middle Creek and the elk visitor center. Access points, those are points on game lands that are painted numbers on the signs at entry points in the game lands that you can use to report to the regions or 911 or whatever where you're located, and we'll be able to identify those and get help to you. CWD service providers are also, you can get driving directions for those, the hunter access points. And again, when you click on a pop-up, you'll scroll near the bottom of the pop-up, you should see something that says get directions. When you click that link, that's going to open a new tab to Google Maps. And then using Google Maps, you can use the function of Google Maps or whatever your phone, well, this would be Google Maps. So we use those options to provide driving directions from where you are to that point. The number 1 tool is the Near Me tool. This is one of my personal favorites. I really like this one. Up at the top of the application, you'll see the little Near Me tool. And what this does, it will search within a circle for the nearest regional headquarters, license sales office, shooting ranges, trails, parking areas on game lands, visitor centers, check stations, hunter, CWD, hunter approved services, game lands, hunter access cooperators, and also the hunter forest game cooperators, and wild pheasant recovery areas, as well as deer hunter focused areas on game lands. So what you do, you can either click to drop a point on the map, or you could enter an address. If you drop a point, you just click the icon, then you click a point on the map, and the application will draw by default a 5-mile buffer around that point. You can use the slider to change that range from 5 to up to 50 miles. And when you do, your results that you get will be whatever falls within that range that you set. Once you see a category that you're interested in, you can click on that category, and then you get a list in the results from there in order of distance from the point you selected. So the nearest is going to be at the top, the furthest at the bottom. When you find an item in that list that you like, you can click on it, and if it's close enough, it's going to zoom to that area, and it will highlight it, and try to keep the initial point up in the top left-hand corner. You'll see the initial point that I chose. It'll try to keep that. If you're at the further ranges in the 20 and 50 and beyond, it's not going to be able to see that. It'll just be near where you highlighted. In the right-hand column, you'll see the specific information about that particular, in this case, the Dauphin County Treasurers. You have their address, their phone numbers. You can buy in it for the PALs. You can buy a license right online here if you want, as well as the Get Directions link. If you want to go back, maybe that's not the result you're looking for, there's an arrow that you can use, and that will take you back to the previous result list, and you can continue using that back arrow to get back to the original list that had all the categories. Some of the bonus features that the new application provides. The Share Location tool, also located up in the top heading of the bar up in the upper right. It provides the ability to share your location via email or social media. You can either copy and paste the link that it's provided and use that in any application. Or you can simply click on the social media icons, your email, Facebook, whatever, and that will automatically put that link in the application that you choose. You can also click on the links option, and that will provide 8 different options for you to choose from. By default, the current map extent, so what you're seeing on the map, that's what's going to be on your map. But there's other items that you can choose from. Another one I like is the ability to customize your bookmarks. So once you create a bookmark, you can add your own images on the bookmark by clicking this little change thumbnail and selecting one of your own pictures. So for instance, I made a bookmark that zoomed in to the state of Pennsylvania, and I found a Pennsylvania sign, and I added that. I did the same for Harrisburg. I also zoom into the Middle Creek area, and I put in an image from Middle Creek. And so I can really customize those to give them more of a quick look and feel the way I want. You can also rearrange the bookmarks in the order you want. You just drag them to whatever order you want, and they'll stay that way. The search tool, we still have the search tool that was in the old mapping center, but we've enhanced it quite a bit. So the mapping center is going to provide the ability to search for game lands, just like the last one did. Also public shooting ranges, rifle, pistol, and archery ranges, access points, townships, as well as any address. So in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see it says click on the arrow or source. And if you click the drop-down arrow, you can see the individual categories. So if you were looking for something specific, like if you were looking for a township, you could click on township and then enter the township name, and it would only search in the township layers. But if we want to search for a game land, for example, you could just type in the game land number that you're interested, or any part of the game land number, and press the enter key. And when you do, all results containing that number is going to be displayed. And the map is going to zoom and highlight the first choice in the list. So in this case, I put in 31, so 031, the map zoomed to game lands 31. If I don't like this orange because I want to see some information underneath it, all I have to do is click on the X, and it gets rid of the orange fill. If I wanted to search on the public shooting ranges, I would either type in the type of range. So if I'm looking for a rifle range, type in rifle, pistol, I do pistol, same for archery. So in this case, I type in rifle. It gives me a list of all game lands that have rifle ranges that are displayed. Now, unfortunately, they're not sorted, so they're in the order they are in the database. But it will, again, zoom to that first one, and you'll see the rifle range highlighted. Another nice feature is it saves the last configuration when you're done with the map. It's going to save the state or how you have the map set up. It will save that for you. So when you open the mapping center the next time, all you have to do is click on this little black pop-up app state that you see, and that will open up the map the way you left it. So the layers you had turned on or off would be in the same state. The focus or extent of the map is going to be restored. Now, if you had changed the base map, say you didn't want the topographic map, and you turned on the aerial photos, those will not be maintained. So it will go back to the default base map, and you just have to go back and turn on the base map you wanted. So talking about mobile and small displays. On a small screen, what does that mean? So when either the height or width of the screen is less than 600 pixels, the mobile layout's automatically going to be applied. And what is a mobile layout? The mobile layout, the layer list takes up almost half of the screen. Pop-ups are going to display different. So instead of getting the pop-up with all the information right under the pop-up, you're going to get a heading and of the pop-up and arrows. And in order to view what you want, you use the the one of 3 arrows to navigate through the different pop-ups, or you can click the arrow with the circle on it on the right-hand side to view the current pop-up. When you click that, it's going to pop up in its own separate screen. And again, you'll have arrows at the top to go through the different pop-up results. Or you can use the down arrow that will basically return you to the map. Also on mobile and small displays, not all icons may show at the top. So in this case, I'm only seeing a couple. So if you click on the more icon display, that's going to display the remaining icons. And then you click on them and you get the same thing that you had previously. So there's a lot of things in here. You can have a lot of fun exploring. There's tons of new information we added, and I think you'll enjoy it. I hope you do. But please continue to provide the feedback that you've given us. That's the best way for us to improve the maps and make changes to make it a better product for everybody. So now we'll go and see what kind of questions we have and then move to a live demonstration.
All right, thank you, Tom. The first question that we have is, you had mentioned that the state parks and state forests are on the layer list now.
Yes.
Is Allegheny National Forest also on the map?
It shows up, so you could, I don't think it's a highlighted, so if I click on, I'll turn on state park, state forest. They're not listed other than it just shows on the base map. It doesn't have any direct link to Allegheny State Forest.
Yeah. Or National Forest.
Or yes, thank you, the National Forest.
Brian Steve would like to know, are the horse trails designated?
Yeah, so if, let me turn off the state park. Let's just say, I'm going to use my near me tool because I don't necessarily know exactly where a horse trail is. I'm going to click anywhere on the map. I've got some trails here that show up. Let's see. There's snowmobile trails. I'm going to bring my range out. We'll take it all the way out to 50. And then I'll click on trails. Obviously, there's a lot of features that are going to pop up. And so hiking trails. Here's a horse trail. So I click on it, and again, it tells me designate routes, use multicolor roads. So it gives me all the information on it. I can see it highlighted on the map. And again, I can click the more information to take me to the page on the website that explains it.
Is the data available to be downloaded?
It is not currently well, I can't say that. It's not available to be downloaded. Some of the basic information is available at POSDA. The data is pretty dynamic, changes quite often, especially like on the seasonal roads and trails and things like that. Those change regularly, so it would be tough to download and have it up to date.
Are there, I think you had mentioned habitat layers for grouse hunters. Could they look at clear cuts and things like that in habitat layer?
Yeah, so if I scroll down and we do, so under the timber harvest, we could turn on the different timber harvests, and then as you click on them, you know, it shows what type. This is a clear cut. There's also, we borrow the DCNR's description of timber harvest to explain that. They did an excellent job on that. So explaining what a shelter wood is and stuff. Let's see. So that's probably the easiest way, and you can kind of, well, like your herbaceous openings, you'll find those again, same with your food plots, where you can find different herbaceous openings and timber plots. And it's not necessarily directly grouse hunting. Here's the young aspens. You find information on that.
Speaking of the young aspens, someone had a question. What determines young for the aspens?
Well, if you click on any of the young aspens, it'll basically tell it's dominated by aspen less than 20 years old, having a high stem density. They're favored by grouse, woodcock, and other small game species.
Excellent. It says for the hunter access cooperator locations, it only shows a point, not the boundary of acreage. Is there any information provided to be able to contact the person to ask permission?
The closest we can give you is we'll give you a point. That point generally is going to either be associated with the house that the owner owns, or there should be a sign posted somewhere nearby to allow you to contact the owner.
Because of privacy concerns.
That's correct, yes.
All right. Does the map show topography? It looks like it is there.
Yeah, you have the topography, and then in the base maps, there's over here to my base maps. So we have lots of different base maps that you can choose from, like I said, from aerial photos, imagery, USGS topology. The U.S. national map is pretty nice. It's a clean version of it. Shows topology really well. The U.S. topo map is the traditional topo map. It has structures and things like that that are shown, but again, there's tons for you to choose from.
This person wants to know if there is a mobile app available or if you have to use the internet. So we are working on
we are working on one that will be a dedicated mobile app. This one does work on mobile. Like I said, it just shows up in the small display screen. One of the help videos, there's an example showing like a hiker was injured and he's trying to get his location out. So it kind of shows the the screens look like on the mobile format. And again, when you are in the mobile world, this icon here will use your location. So you click on that, and then wherever you are, obviously it tracks your location and yours. So if I click it on now, and we give it permission, we'll see where it shows up, probably somewhere downtown Harrisburg. Yeah. And we're not on a mobile device. We're using just the regular internet, so it shows us where our internet provider basically connection is at.
Do you have any tips for people who are having difficulty getting different layers? This person says that the only layer they can get on their phone is wildlife management units.
The only layer they get on their phone is what? So when the one thing, if I go out to the world and I click on it, so right now you don't see a lot. They're scale dependent. So as you zoom in, right now, like I said, really only wildlife management units are showing up. But as you zoom into those other layers to make sure that they're visible, then you'll be able to get more information. So and you can always tell, you can turn off the wildlife management units and zoom in, and then we'll click on whatever.
Yeah, I've come across that too. It does help whenever you zoom in on the map, it shows more.
Correct.
So, all right. Well, we got to most of the questions. I know there's still a few out there. So if those of you who didn't have your questions answered would like to ask Tom that question later, you can email us at pgccomments, COMMENTS, @pa.gov. We'll try to answer those through that. So this session has been recorded, and you should receive an email with a link to the recording within the next few days, and the recording will also be uploaded onto the Game Commission's YouTube channel. I'd like to thank Tom for sharing his expertise and for doing all of these great hunter really hunter-focused layers and new features. I'm excited about them, and I'm happy that you were able to give a tutorial so that we could really see how to use it to its full potential. And we'd also like to thank all of you who are listening today for taking time out of your busy schedules to participate in the webinar. We hope that you'll join us again to learn more about Pennsylvania wildlife in upcoming webinars. You're welcome to send us an email again at that pgccomments@pa.gov address if you have a suggestion for a webinar topic. Until then, we hope you're able to get outside and enjoy some of Pennsylvania's great outdoors. Thank you.